I'm David Belleville.
And I'm Joe Barker.
And today we are talking about Facebook. Is it still relevant in 2026? We'll probably get into Instagram as well, as it's a part of the Meta ecosystem. But Joe, so often I hear that Facebook is a declining social media platform, that audiences have already moved on. They're on YouTube, they're on TikTok. Let's debunk that, though, and explain why Facebook is still relevant in 2026, especially to our audience.
Well, that's what's key, is what you just said there last, is especially to our audience. Where it becomes relevant is depending on who your target audience is. So if you were targeting the 15, the 16, the 20-year-olds, yeah, TikTok probably would be your, that platform that you would want to make sure you're creating content for. But the fact is in our industry and in the life and health and annuity space, especially when we're speaking directly about Medicare, we know our target audience is older.
Yep.
And so we're looking at the, 50, 55, 65 plus target audience. And that's where we need to pay attention. Where are they spending their time? What channels are they spending their time on? Are there some on TikTok? Yes. But is that where they're spending the majority of their time? Absolutely not. And is that where the majority of them are? Absolutely not. We know they are on Facebook.
We also often talk about diversifying your lead sources. So if you were to want to explore one of those other platforms, you can, and maybe it's a secondary platform that you feed, though. More often than not, Facebook is a great primary platform to be posting on, because as you mentioned, that's where more times than not, those 50, 60-year-olds are spending most of their time. When it comes to creating an actual content strategy on Facebook, though, what, in your experience, works best? What types of content should our audience be producing for this audience?
So I usually tell everybody, if you're trying to come up with content, the last thing you want to do is be out there every single day trying to pitch a sales message. So you don't want to be going onto social media to be selling nonstop. So we have to keep in mind, Facebook is a social media platform. It is meant to be social.
Right.
So when you're thinking about the type of content to put out there, you want to provide value and you want to be helpful. Doesn't mean that everything they want to read about or hear about is about you selling whatever it is that you're selling. You want to make sure that you are providing value. So I always say take about 70% of your content and make it real social content. It could be community news. It could be entertaining news. It could be just learning more about your audience and who it is that you're connecting with. And then leave about 30% for those sales messages or those messages or posts that are specific to your industry.
Right. You're not saying that type of messaging isn't relevant, but it's not always going to be relevant depending on the user. And it's not how the content platform, it's not how the social media platform works.
Exactly.
I also tell so many that we work with to think about the content that they engage with on Facebook, that your mom engages with on Facebook. It's often photos and videos. I think that in our industry, it can get easy to rely on just graphics with a fun fact or a hot tip, which would perhaps fall in that 30% bucket. But I think that one thing that's underutilized are just good old-fashioned photos and videos of you being out in the community. Because if your audience is engaging with family photos that your aunt shares or graduation photos at your cousin's graduation, then more photos will show up on their feed, because Facebook recognizes that that's a type of content that is keeping them on the platform. So my point is create content that your audience is already engaging with.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, we're very visual people. And so visually, as you're scrolling, and you have to think, you only have a couple of seconds to capture attention. So as people are sitting there scrolling, it is the image or the video that grabs that attention first, of like, oh, what was that? Oh, that grabbed my eye. And then they stop and they scroll back. And that's where they start reading the content to see, or the captions that go along with that image. So it really is about grabbing attention. And imagine if, and I love the point you made, like, scroll yourself and see what is it that grabs your attention. Because sometimes it's things like a local hotspot in your community where you're like, oh, I've been there.
Yeah.
And it automatically makes you stop because it relates to you. And so those are the type of things to think about, of what are the posts that I can provide value, and at the same time, I can build a deeper connection with, the friends and the family or the connections that I've made online.
Yeah, that's a great point.